Hello, everybody online joining us tonight, family and friends from around the globe. We are so excited to have you here tonight. We are going to have a fun time together chatting about a new collaborative book that has just been published. It is available on all major platforms, including Amazon. So if you are willing and wanting to grab a copy of Hope for Tomorrow. It is a series, an anthology of collaborative authors who have written their hope-filled stories about hope for tomorrow. And I know we are a little bit behind here, but we're so glad that you're joining from us. I actually see Angela Mora saying, wahoo! Feel free to drop in the chat your encouragements, any sort of comments that you would like, even questions, we would love to see it. But without further ado, I would like to introduce tonight one of our most amazing authors that we've had, LaDawn Caldwell Bridgman. So everybody, please give a round of applause for LaDawn. LaDawn, how are you doing?
I am fabulous, Leilani.
It's so great to have you. I love your outfit.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, is it okay if I start with a funny icebreaker question?
Love it.
Okay, great. Okay, I've got my little questionnaire here. What is your favorite seat on an airplane?
First class.
Yes.
Aisle. In the middle.
Okay.
I don't like to be in the back or the very front row, but right there in the middle on the aisle.
You know, it's great if you can be a passenger princess. Well, LaDawn, tell us a little bit, and maybe like 30 seconds without giving away your piece. Tell us what you wrote in Hope for Tomorrow.
What I wrote in Hope for Tomorrow is a story about a recent divorcee who, she's got her blinders on and she's forging ahead with what's next. And God calls out for her story to shift a bit. So it's about trusting God and the hope that we have for tomorrow, and how He can reward us in ways that we couldn't have imagined for ourselves when we trust Him.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your main character. Is this someone that has, in your writing, become someone very close?
Oh, yes. Hope Haley's my girl now. Pray for Hope and see how Hope's story wants to evolve. But very much so. Hope is a Christian romance author, and she's retiring and transitioning to something new. She's not yet sure what that is, but Hope's fun. She renovated her home. Yeah. She's in love with it. And so, Hope knows how to breathe, how to be still when she's not caught up in the chaos. So she just has to remind herself, or, her community, her tribe reminds her.
Yeah. Oh, I love Hope already. Tell us a little bit about what it was like writing in a collaborative piece of fictional stories.
What it was like. So it was great. There's always safety in community. You feel an additional responsibility to the other authors to show up, to do things on time. There's also, people available to shoot your questions off to, and really to just know that we're all in this together and I'm not alone. And so, I feel like I'm struggling, and they're like, oh yeah, we have this limit and I'm about double it. I'm there with you. So we got some editing to do. You got any advice? So it's really to push forward and deliver on what God's calling you to do.
Yeah. Accountability. I mean, I know that's always super helpful when you're a writer and you're trying to get your words out. Tell us a little bit, LaDawn, about sort of the emotional side of writing on a fiction piece versus a non-fiction piece. How is it different? Imagining someone.
Actually, I thought it probably would be the opposite of, having more emotions with the nonfiction piece, just because, it's like something you've worked through, you've grown through, and there's all that vulnerability and authenticity. When you kind of imagine fiction is, I'm telling a story, it's make believe, but I shed so many tears in writing Hope and rereading the story and editing it, because I found that it's a mixture of not only pieces of my life, but pieces of the women around me and my community. So very much emotional.
Yeah. Speaking of community, this means a lot to you. What is a piece of encouragement that you would give for the person that's reading Hope for Tomorrow?
The encouragement I would give is to stay open, to choose your words carefully, and to speak life, because we have this limited view, and God's view is so much bigger, and we can tend to want to be comfortable and limit ourselves in that way, versus when we're just open to, here I am, then there's a lot more room for him to do things that are beyond what we could think or imagine.
Yeah. Well, I already see your character coming to life through speaking with you and hearing more about Hope and Hope in Tomorrow. And I'm sure that this piece is going to bless many readers here, and who will maybe find your book years from now, because this is such a legacy. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and your words tonight. And it's been wonderful getting to know you.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure. And I'll end with Soli Deo Gloria. Glory to God alone.
Amazing.
Thank you.
LaDawn, thank you. Everyone give a round of applause for LaDawn. Okay, I do see some activity going on in the chat. So we have Laveda, congratulations, LaDawn. Jay Bo, a powerful story, LaDawn. Rhonda Jackson, so proud of my aunt. Let's see, we have Renee Hood tuning in, also super encouraging. Jay Bo, got all the claps going on, love to see it. Tell us where you're tuning in from as well. Melissa is also saying congratulations. We love to hear the encouragement. It is so life-giving to our authors. And I just know that if you haven't grabbed your copy yet, it is available, like I said, on major platforms. So Walmart, Amazon, please grab this book. You can get it in this beautiful paper copy with the matte cover, or you can order a very lovely hardcover as well, if that is something that you would like to add to your bookshelf. So without further ado, I would like to give a round of applause to our next author. And this person was able to give a little bit of a teaser to this book last month. So I'm so excited to have her back. Let's all give a round of applause to Christine Martinez. Hello, Christine. Lovely to have you. So, Christine, how has it been for you today?
You know, it was great being here last month, because it really eased the anxiety of the unknown, because that's always an issue. But it's feeling like home, and it's a very safe space. So I'm very appreciative to have connected with you guys.
Well, we're so happy to have you. We can't wait to hear more of your words, because I know there are more. There are more in you. Okay, I'm going to start off with a funny icebreaker question. Let's see. What slang are you happy it went out of fashion?
What slang?
Yeah.
Um,
It could be anything from like groovy to,
I think I'm going to change it up and
Okay.
say, what is a word that I
Yeah.
wish no longer existed?
oh
as
yes,
slang?
oh I could think that too. Skippy.
Okay. And it's a Spanish word.
Oh,
and
okay,
it's
tell me.
dale. If I never hear that word again in Miami, I will be so happy. So
You have to tell me more about this.
well, it just means let's go. But it's
Okay.
everybody uses it, no matter in what context, and it's just it makes me cringe every time I hear it. So I'm hoping that one goes out of style.
Let's go. What would you flip it if you wanted to say something instead of let's go? What would be?
It could be anything. I mean,
And just anything.
yeah, it's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Just as long as.
Anyways, yeah. So
Well, okay. Well, that was fun. Tell us a little bit about your piece and hope for tomorrow without giving the book away.
okay. It's a little difficult. So for my friends and family, they know some of the hardships that I went through last fall
Mhm.
and the summer and then during the fall. And, I had already been kind of in the works and talking with Hope Books. And then this happened to me. And all of a sudden, the opportunity came to write here. And I think, without giving anything away, I think the chapter really focuses on there's always an opportunity and there's
Mhm.
always hope in
Mhm.
tomorrow. There's always a redemption story. And what I tried to convey in my story is that sometimes when you think there's no hope, it's always been there.
Yeah.
And you just weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
And so there's a piece in the book that I say, God had to throw a boulder at me to make me stop and really address some of these things. So I was able to write in a vulnerable space
Mhm.
because it was nonfiction, which I think is the beauty of it, right? It's almost like a third person taking myself out of it.
Just a little bit of removal
Right.
there.
And, but it's just the beginning. So
Mhm.
I think it was a perfect collaborative fit because I know that I have hope for tomorrow, and I know my character did as well. And the common theme is that God is always with us.
Mhm.
We just don't always look for him or allow him to take the lead.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, I personally don't struggle at all with being stubborn in my faith life. So.
right.
No, I'm just joking.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
I'm joking completely.
relinquishing control is difficult,
Yeah.
regardless of what theme we're talking about. And taking a deep breath and relinquishing that control
Yeah.
has been really what has helped me move forward. And hopefully the character in my book embodies that, and people get that message that no matter how you get to where you need to go, eventually you need to let somebody else
Yeah.
steer the wheel, and that person is
Yeah.
God in my case. So
Yeah. And there's this beautiful thing that happens in these collaborative books where we have many different authors from around the globe who come together, and there's this beautiful God ordained weaving through it. And the piece that I love that LaDawn spoke to, and you as well, is this beautiful element of community and how community is essential in your walk and in your faith life. And this anthology of stories is a beautiful recognition of that, of community. So I really appreciate.
I like how LaDawn always says it's like you're walking around with blinders on, and you're not always looking to the fact that God has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just letting you open that door instead of, trying to shove it in your face. And I think that that's the beauty. And it's really helped me reestablish my faith through this process. And that's why I look forward to working with you guys in the future as well.
Oh, I love that. Writing is a spiritual practice.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of storytelling, which you're so great at in conversation as well, tell me about being a part of this collaborative book. What has that taught you about storytelling?
That everyone has a story.
Yeah.
regardless of how small you think that story is, or regardless of whether you think somebody else is going to find it, I hate to use the word entertaining or meaningful, I think it's a better word, it's still your story. And when you put it out on paper and reread it, it's a collection of moments of your life.
Yeah.
And
Which is so meaningful.
it's so meaningful.
Yeah.
And it's cathartic. And I've always loved to write, but never thought that I was worthy of writing a book that somebody else would think was impactful or meaningful. You know, I always kind of diminish what I think I can do. And having this out now and seeing it on paper and in a book form, it's like, wow, I did this.
Yeah.
You know?
This is real.
It's real.
You're a published author.
Right. And so, you know, you put yourself out there as well, because now your story is out there. But with that, I think that that's also the vulnerability of our stories, helps us stay accountable for how we choose to live our life moving forward. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
Thank you for your courage.
Oh.
And thank you for your commissioning.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, Christine. Okay, really, in one word, what would be your encouragement to the person who is struggling with knowing that their words matter?
Do it for yourself.
Okay.
And know that if you at least touch one person, and it could be a family or a friend, anybody, it was worth it. But your story is important, regardless of what you think others are going to perceive of it, right? And if you help one person, it is so worth it.
Yeah, yourself. And that's okay.
You're right. Sometimes you do it, but I think that the biggest thing I've taken away from this is that writing takes away the shame. And once you remove the shame from something, it is freeing, you know? So that could be probably the best word, is release yourself of that shame or that feeling of unworthiness.
Yeah.
Your story is worthy of telling.
Unashamed.
Unashamed.
Love it. Well, Christine, it's been so
Thank you,
lovely chatting with you.
Leilani.
I could keep you here all night, but I can't.
All right.
So
There's many more stories to tell.
yes, we love you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Christine.
you.
Everyone in the chat, please give claps, give encouragement. Sounds like an amazing and relatable story from Los Angeles. That's wonderful. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to be able to come alongside these collaborative authors and just hear bits and pieces of their lives and their testimonies. And I'm just always so encouraged and inspired from the vulnerability and the rawness and the realness that each of these authors bring. And even through a fiction writing, which can seem sort of like, oh, well, you know, at least for me, maybe it would be easier. But there is this element of like you're putting something out there in the world that is very, very raw and real and could be visceral. So definitely huge admiration for all of our authors out there who have written in this piece. It is no small thing. So I love that we get to celebrate them tonight. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our next author, Alex Faith. Can everyone give a round of applause for Alex Faith? Alex! Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Have you. Thank you for being here. Oh my goodness, so many wonderful things that I just want to pull out of you, Alex. You are someone who is very inspiring and whimsical and adventurous. I'm going to segue from the silly icebreaker question. I just want to give a glimpse of what I've been able to see today from you to our audience, which I know you have family and friends tuning in. But for other viewers who don't know you, Alex, can you share a little bit about your heart for writing fiction?
Yeah, certainly. So I've dreamed of being a writer since I was a little girl. I think the first time that I really thought about it as a career is in the third grade. My third grade teacher, I wrote a story, and at the end of the class, she pulled me aside and she told me, "You should become an author."
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. And from then, I used to love to write stories, short stories, scripts for movies and shows, just writing anything that I could. And then some years later, my ninth grade English teacher also said something similar. I did an author study for C.S. Lewis and had written a script based off of The Last Battle. And on the last page of it, she wrote, "Wouldn't it be fun to stage the play?" And so we did that. We staged it my junior year of high school. We used it as a way to have donations for the Zero Hunger cause. And so those were two really pivotal moments in my life and in me seeing myself as an author, as a writer, and my ability to be able to use words to impact others and to help others as well.
Yeah. With your piece that you wrote and Hope for Tomorrow, how is your story or characters in your story, how is that deeply personal for you?
Yeah, so my story is Christian fantasy. That's one of my favorite genres to read, to write. And so going into this, it was definitely something personal to me because it's what I've been wanting to do for so long. And in my story, I have two main characters, Cyrus and Daphne. And honestly, they kind of just took on a life of their own. As I was writing the story, I had one idea for what I wanted to write. I had it all outlined out.
Yes.
But as I sat there and wrote, the words just came to me and the characters completely changed the plot. They just kind of, took themselves and made their own story, and I followed where they went. And it honestly turned out even better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I can't wait for our viewers to be able to read your piece, especially because you had mentioned how Christian fantasy has been so formative in your writing. And we have so much fantasy that's amazing out creatively, but to have that element that is so dear to you, which is truth and hope and elements that tie to biblical teaching, is something that we don't have enough of.
Yeah, definitely. And, I take inspiration from that, from C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors. So, Narnia definitely inspired me to do more of that type of work.
Yeah. Do you think you have more in you?
Oh, yes, definitely. I'm already planning more short stories and novels as well. So
that's amazing. What is something that writing in a collaborative piece, what did it give you that maybe writing in a standalone book wouldn't or couldn't?
Yeah. So one thing, and the other authors that just came up here said it, is community, right? When you're writing your own book, you're usually by yourself in your little corner, pen, paper, or laptop, however you prefer to write. And, you're there writing. But when you're in a collaborative book and you have that community, we had Zoom calls, Facebook group, we could talk to each other, ask each other questions, see what, what experiences we were going through and communicate with each other. That definitely helped you to feel less alone, to help to rely on each other. And also just hearing each other's stories as well. It's really inspiring to see all the authors come together, all with this, main theme of hope and hope for today as well as for tomorrow. And to see that come alive through their stories and their journeys, and to be able to get to know them as well, to meet them in person on a book launch like today. And it's just a really beautiful thing when, a Christian author community can come together and can put out a book like this.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. If there is one piece of wisdom from this gift of writing that you have that you would like to give to someone on the other side who's thinking about writing a fiction piece, maybe joining a collaborative, what is something that you would give to them?
Sure. So for any writers listening out there, I would say if you feel called to write, do it. Take that leap of faith. Listen to what God is telling you to do. Because if you feel called to write, it's for a reason. It's for a purpose. It's for you to share your message, to share the story that you have. And there's no wrong or right way to do it. You can start with a short story collaborative book, or you can even start just by having things online that you do, blog posts, Substack, whatever you want to do. It could start small way, and you can work your way up to a fully published novel if that's what you want to do. But any type of writing that you want to do, go be a writer and to get your message out into the world.
That's right. That's awesome, Alex. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this. We're so grateful for you.
Yeah.
And if you also are excited about reading this book, Hope for Tomorrow, please drop a heart in the comment. Give us some love. We'd love to hear from you. This is a collaborative piece as well in the way tonight where we're engaging with you in the audience. So I see some claps, some hands. So thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have had you.
Thank you for
here
having
tonight.
me.
Yes, thank you. Yay, Alex. Okay, and so we are not finished. We have had 3 authors who we have had the pleasure of having here in Matthews, North Carolina. But as you can see, this is a collaborative book of many chapters. There are 10 chapters here. And so some of our authors are joining virtually. And so I would be honored to be able to introduce 2 of our authors who are joining online. And first, without further ado, I would like to introduce, and maybe we can all give a round of applause for Donna K. Robinson. Donna. Hello, Donna. That is a stunning virtual background. How did you get that blown up so big on your wall?
I'm just played around a little bit today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something about your creativity. I mean, that's wonderful. Well, Donna, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you tuning in from? And maybe tell us something fun about yourself. What's been going on that's exciting in your world?
I'm from Northwest Arkansas. I live in Northwest Arkansas. I grew up in the eastern part of the state, which has a little bit to do with my story. And I think an interesting thing for me is that I am in a second wave of grandbaby stage. I have one that turns a year old next week and one that will be born at the end of June. And then I have one that's 19 and one that's 16.
Oh, congratulations, Donna, leaving a legacy. Okay, do your grandchildren call you Grandma, Gammy? Is there a name that they have for you?
I'm Dee Dee.
Dee Dee, I love that. There's so many wonderful names for grandmothers. Grandmothers make the world go round. Love them. So, Donna, tell us a bit about your fiction piece, your imagination. Tell us about your story and your main characters.
Okay. My story is a modern day retelling of the story of Ruth in the Bible. And I have a heart for taking the stories of the Bible and setting them in modern day context so that people can see that the Bible is alive and real today. Mm-hmm. And they can take those principles from those stories and realize they still apply today. And so in this particular part of the story, it's a precursor to a novel that I'm working on. And in this particular part of the story, Ruth and Naomi have returned back to Naomi's homeland. And Ruth is trying to find a way. And Naomi is steeped in grief. And Ruth is trying to keep their heads above water. And so the story follows the ways that this happened. And in this particular part of the story, you see a lot of God's providence of the ways that he's already put things in place when you didn't even realize that he was there. And that's one of the things I love about Ruth is there are so many things that you can draw on. There's where do you find your significance? Because Naomi starts the story as a woman of significance and then becomes a woman of insignificance when she loses her husband and sons. And then Ruth starts out as a woman of insignificance and becomes a woman of significance. So that's my story is just saying that all of these things you read in the book of Ruth in the Bible, they're real for today.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly encouraging, especially for those who maybe have been reading the Bible for a long time or a short time. I do want to ask, when it comes to your writing and being able to expand and bring these biblical stories to life, where do you draw your inspiration from? Because you said you draw from such a wealth. Where does that come from? Is that something that you've always just been really good at doing? Are you very imaginative, or what is your practice? How do you draw inspiration?
I don't know if I consider myself as much imaginative as I do a researcher. I just have
Okay.
always been a researcher. And then as I read in my daily readings, I think, oh, well, that is the same as this today. But for me, the process involves, okay, this section of scripture is really vibrant. What am I supposed to know about this? So then I do research and deep dive. I've done a lot of deep diving on Ruth. And then I start, as I'm doing that, things come to my mind of, oh, she could go to work in a peach orchard and she could face some people who don't want her there and some people who embrace her. So as I research, those things come, and I just keep lots of notes jotted down everywhere. So
yeah, I mean, that is incredibly creative, because it sounds as though you do the hard yards, and you're almost journaling a biblical, what we do as Christians, which is, read scripture and try to excerpt from it to apply to our lives. But you even this beautiful gift of being able to say, well, what if, and imagine how these characters, or in specific Ruth, could apply to our lives today. So I really admire that and appreciate that. That's such a gift. If there is something that comes to top of mind for you when it comes to writing a collaborative piece, what is that? What is it about writing in a collaborative piece that is special, or why did you choose to write in a collaborative piece?
I chose this because it gave me an opportunity to, in short story form, see how people would respond to my concept. But then I was just very blessed to be in this particular collaboration. Someone mentioned earlier that we've done a Zoom call, that we talk back and forth in our group. And so there's been a strong sense of community. And also, for me, the accountability of knowing that my story needs to be up there, because these other people's stories, I can tell already, are up there. So that was a thing for me too, to keep me motivated, to keep going and keep improving it.
Oh, Donna. Well, speaking of community, I am looking right now at Pamela Martin, and Pamela Martin is saying 6 of your Hope huddlers here cheering you on. We are so proud of you, with clap, 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 party, 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 heart, and lots of hearts. So you are very, very loved by your Hope Huddle and by your community. So we're so thankful for your words. Donna, before we close out our interview, I would love to know, as someone who appreciates writing and learning, what is something that you would give as an encouragement for maybe someone struggling to figure out where to start in their writing? You're a researcher, you're someone who does, what is something practical that you could give for somebody who's starting in their writing?
Over the years, as I've been a writer, and when people learn that I'm a writer, they say, oh, writing is so hard. And yes, as a writer author, there are things that are hard. But what I say to those people is, writing is just talking on paper. If you want to start writing, just talk on paper. And then as you continue to talk on paper, the other ways that you need to improve, refine, whatever you need to do, those will come. And then there are outlets that you can find to help you with training, like Hope Writers. But the most important thing is just talk on paper.
Talk on paper. That's excellent. Well, Donna, we're so thankful for your words, and we cannot wait for Hope for Tomorrow to get out to all of your beta readers, to your Hope Huddle. If you haven't pre-ordered it, pre-order. It helps the sales. It helps our authors get the words out. And more importantly, this isn't just, one book or one group of stories that we're just trying to share even in fiction. It's hope-filled stories. They're real pieces of work that our authors have so diligently put their hand to. And so we need to get this out, and we need other people to feel that inspiration and that hope as well. So grab your book. And thank you, Donna, so much for being willing to meet with us and work with us. We can't wait to write with you some more. Okay. And last but not least, I have the most wonderful author with me tonight that I would like to introduce to you, coming all the way internationally, virtually, from Japan. We have with us tonight Dawnette Kanekawa. Did I pronounce your last name correct? I should have asked.
Yes,
Yes. Oh, Dawnette, we are so excited. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
That's like about the extent of my Japanese. I could definitely learn some more. But tell us, Dawnette, how is it in Japan right now? Are you just so tired of the time zone here? Are you feeling fresh as a daisy?
Yes, the time zones have been quite challenging for me because when the meetings happened, it was the middle of the night for me, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's nearly 9 o'clock in the morning now. Tomorrow, so hope for tomorrow. Tomorrow's here for me.
That you can tell us what is in the future. I love that in the most encouraging biblical way. But okay, Dawnette, I would love to hear so much about your particular piece of writing and Hope for Tomorrow. The first thing I want to ask is, what drew you to this topic? Or is this something that you just kind of happened to just give it a go? Or was this something that you saw the topic and you were like, I need to write about Hope for Tomorrow?
I needed hope in my life at this moment because my story's main theme is dealing with grief.
Okay.
And I have been battling grief for the last 3 years or so. And this story has sort of pulled me towards the end of that tunnel so that I can see some light again, and not just survive, but to start to live again. So for me, writing is so healing. And during that last 3 years, there was even a point when I couldn't write. I'm very much a creative person, and I dance, I play musical instruments, and I write. And I've done that my entire life. And so when my mother passed away, I was heartbroken, and I couldn't do anything creative, and it was just so hard. But my writer friends that I met through Hope Writers, and we have our own little community of accountability partners, and we meet once a week, and they just pulled me up and helped me keep my dream of becoming a published author alive. And I'm so thankful and grateful for this community for that reason. But my group has really just had my heart.
Loved you through.
And loved me through one of the hardest times in my life.
I find that so special that you have so many elements of creativity that are in your life, and writing is a piece of it. And to find not only community in writing and something that you're gifted in and that you enjoy, but how monumental it would be that during this period of your life, these past 3 years, that it would just be such a unique and beautiful way to come alongside you in your healing. Can you tell me a little bit about what has been giving you hope for tomorrow that maybe you have written in your piece? If there's like an element of what has given you hope for tomorrow, specifically from your writing.
one thing that surprised me when, okay, so I've always known I wanted to be a writer, and from when I was a little girl, and had story time with my mom and my grandfather, and they would, at the end, my grandfather would say, okay, go find your words and write them down, and I would be, and write them pretty, right? And so so he'd smile at me and push me off, and I would, you know, write little snippets of things everywhere, and just the amount of memories that surfaced while I was writing this particular story.
Okay.
And the title of my story is A Library of Memories.
Okay. A library of memories.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. And I can just imagine you as a young girl having all these little mementos of your writing it down, and then how you're able to use that in your writing. Well, we are so excited, Dawnette, for you to be able to bring a part of your healing story in writing form, and to be able to share it with the world. I know that there are so many people who would be going through something similar, if not very, very close to home, with losing somebody near and dear to them. So we're very grateful, and your words have mattered so deeply already. And I am also looking at the screen, and you have just so many people who are cheering you on. I have Preeti, who is saying, yay, go Dawnette. Andrea Barilla, so proud of you writing through your grief. And then Andrea also said, this is super lovely. She said, my hope huddle has held my heart too. So yeah, you definitely have a host of community around you, and we're so excited that we get to see these elements of your healing journey through Hope for Tomorrow. So thank you so much.
My story is, it's completely fiction. I write high epic fantasies, so there are no humans in my story.
Ooh, okay. Teaser. There are no humans. There's the element of Hope for Tomorrow, but
there are no humans in my story.
There are no
but
humans
there's
in the
a
story.
ton of human emotion in my story, and I drew from life experiences and just watching other, everything that's in the world. I live in between American culture and Japanese culture. I'm married to a Japanese man. My husband's Japanese. I've spent almost 3 decades of my life here, and so that balancing act comes into play too.
Okay, before we log off for tonight, or end our time, I would like to hear from you, because you've just mentioned something really important about your piece, about how, because your short story is a fantasy, it has human emotion but not humans. What is something, as a fictional fantasy storytelling author, what would be a piece of encouragement that you would give to someone else who is also writing fantasy in fiction?
Don't be afraid to go follow your dreams. And the best part of writing for me is the daydreaming portion of my writing. I daydream, and I spend a lot of time in the daydreaming parts, and then I make myself fall asleep at night and night dream about my story. And the characters really come alive in my imagination for me. And I'm a planner, so I try to write out everything, but I do that so that I can give myself leeway to allow my characters to tell me, you're wrong. This is where we're going to go, not where you wanted to go.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love that. Don't quit your daydream. Don't quit your daydream. I'll stick that on a bumper sticker. Well, Donna, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. And we're so excited. Do not leave yet. I am going to close out our live for tonight. Just want to reiterate, for those of you who are tuning in with these short stories and hope for tomorrow to carry you through today. Each of these fictional stories are deeply meaningful and personal. May not be person, but personal. So if you haven't yet, please get your copy on all major platforms, including Amazon. And we're so excited that you were able to tune in and join tonight. And thank you for all of our authors who have contributed their meaningful work as well. Your words matter. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. See you.